Okay, so let's start. So the recording is now on. Okay, so good morning, class, and welcome to our Amazing classroom. So again, I am your teacher Daryl Del Mundo, and today we will tackle all about grade 7 science, the quarter one, week one, or these are all the things that you should know in the first week of our class. Okay, so to start with, Miss President, may you lead us in prayer. Let us have the prayer for today.
Are you ready to pray, classmate?
Yes, we
Okay, let's
are.
pray.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day. We hope that we will have a fruitful and ano, enjoyable virtual class experience. This we ask in Christ Jesus our Lord.
Okay, thank you so much. And now, let us have the attendance. Chloe, how many boys and how many girls do we have? The secretary.
There are 20 girls and there are 17 boys.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have 17 boys and then 20 girls for today. Thank you so much. And today we will tackle about the components of scientific investigation. So what are the important things that you need to know when you are going to do scientific investigation? Okay? So maybe we can have an example. Okay, the good example, I guess, maybe you should know is Shinichi Kudo or Detective Conan. So you are familiar with him, right? So give me a thumbs up if you are familiar with him. So we all know that Detective Conan is also an investigator. He do scientific investigation. He will not just jump into conclusion or hindi muna siya kagad magtuturo kung sino ang suspect. Okay? O ikaw ang gumawa nito ha. O ikaw yung may kasalanan nito. No. He will not jump into conclusion o hindi kagad siya kukuha ng mga talagang gumawa ng krimen. He will investigate. So when we are talking about components of scientific investigation, we are talking about procedures, we are talking about steps. Okay, what are the steps that we need to go through for us to be able to get the answer to our problem? Okay, so that is the important thing. It's like you are a detective, you are an investigator when you are doing scientific investigation. You should have procedures. You should have the process. Okay? And for us to start with, in this lesson, we have six, actually, six topics in this module. Okay, this lesson includes number one, scientific method. Lesson number two, variables in a scientific investigation. Lesson three, writing hypothesis. Lesson four, testing hypothesis. Lesson 5, collecting data and performing the experiment. Lesson number 6, interpretation and conclusion. So those are the six lessons or topics that we have today. So Dada is saying hello to you. So we can proceed to our lesson number 1. It's all about scientific method. So as an introduction, scientific method is a logical and rational order of steps by which scientists use to understand the world around them. It is a series of organized steps that one can use to answer a question or solve a problem. So, this process or these steps in science investigation is what we call scientific method, meaning to say we have procedures, we have step-by-step process. So before you solve a problem, before you answer a question, you need to follow the scientific method. Meaning to say, you cannot go to step 5 without going to step 4. Or you cannot go to step 2 if you are not done with step 1. So it's like you are going to cook, right? Di ba? For example, kapag may nakikita kayong mga nagluluto, or if you saw a cooking show, like if they are going to see the procedure, if they are going to show you the procedure, step 1 for this, step 2, step 3, step 4, something like that. So you need to go to each and every step. It's like when you are going to enroll in Cayetano Arellano High School. Okay, in your enrollment, step 1, go to window 1. Step 2, verification. Step 3, requirements. Step 4, validation, so on and so forth. Okay? So for you to solve a problem and to answer a question, you need to go on to different steps or procedures. And that is scientific method in our case. Am I clear? Give me a thumbs up if you understood. Okay, so these are the 6 scientific method or 6 steps in scientific method. So number 1, we have statement of the problem. We have step 2, formulate hypothesis. Step 3, data collection. Step 4, perform experiment. Step 5, analyze data or data. Then step 6, draw conclusion. So in this case, each step has its own role for us to solve a problem. Number 1, state the problem. What do you want to find out? And if you have the problem, or if you saw a problem, state the problem as a question. So meaning to say, why does it happen? What is the reason behind this? Okay, it always starts with a question. So your problem is a question. Lagi ka nagtatanong, that's the first thing. Okay? Why? Example, why the sky is blue? Right? Why fish can breathe underwater? So that's example. So you ask questions after you observe. Okay? Then you will go on to step 2. You formulate a hypothesis, which is your possible answer. Meaning to say, this is an educated guess. It means that it has a sense guess. Okay? It is relevant to what is happening, or may kaugnayan, or may connection. Okay? So what do you think may happen? Ano sa tingin niyo yung mangyayari? What information from the past, experiences, or observation? Okay? Are you using to state your hypothesis? So that's what hypothesis is all about. That you are making a possible answer or educated guess because you are not yet sure. Hindi ka pa naman sigurado. So ang tendency para kang manghuhula. Pero be sure yung panghuhula mo is that may relationship or may connection. Okay, that is hypothesis. Next, it will bring you to your step 3, your data collection or data collection. In your data collection, you will plan your experiment because you want to test your hypothesis. You are going to make your own plan. Okay? So how will you gather data? Will you observe, estimate, or measure? Are there other ways? So pwede ka bang may iba pa kayang paraan? Paano ko kaya malalaman yung bagay na to? So you need to plan. You're going to collect data. How will you collect data? You will go to the internet. Okay? You will search to Google, or you will go to library from another library to search for this. Maliwanag? Okay. And then, if you collected all the data, you will now perform your experiment. Oh, so this is now the plan that I have. So I can now perform the experiment for me to test my hypothesis. Dito ko ngayon iti-test, dito ko ngayon malalaman kung tama ba yung hypothesis ko. Okay? in performing the experiment. So, during the experimentation, designing a test or procedure to find out if the result of the hypothesis is correct. So, actually, this is not yet the correct answer, but you are going to test it. Okay? Kaya, in your experimentation class, meron kayong trial 1, trial 2, trial 3. Ibig sabihin, or it means that you are going to try everything. I will try this for the first time. Okay? If I failed, I will try it for the second time. Okay? If it failed and you're not yet okay with the results, I will try it for the third time. That's why we have trial 1, trial 2, trial 3. Okay? We have setup A, okay, setup B, and setup C, for example. Am I clear? And then we have analyzed the data or the data. This is the result. So after performing, you have now the result. So you need to take down notes or you need to video your experimentation for you to have a recorded result. Okay? Record and organize the data. Do you see any pattern in the data or the data? Do the data support the hypothesis? So you are going to check the result if it will lead you to answer your question. Okay? Ito yung magbibigay linaw kung yung hypothesis mo ay tama ba. Maliwanag? Kaya kapag meron ka ng data, if you analyze data class, usually ito ay nakagraph. Gumagamit tayo ng bar graph, line graph, okay? Pie graph, para mas madali maintindihan. Pwede rin kayong gumamit ng diagram. Yan, and many more so that you can interpret or analyze the data very easy. And it will lead you to drawing a conclusion. In your conclusion, this is your final and answer. Okay? Final and end answer. Kumbaga, this is your last answer na. Ito na yung pinaka sagot nyo when you draw a conclusion. Okay? State your conclusion based on your data. Your data should either support your conclusion or lead to another hypothesis. So, pwedeng, ito na yung final answer nyo or sa conclusion nyo, class, pwede pa kayong magkaroon ng panibagong hypothesis para makagawa ulit kayo ng another scientific investigation. For example, so siguro dati wala naman kayong nakikitang television, mga sinaunang TV, black and white. So yun yung una nila. Ang conclusion nila, nakagawa sila ng television. Pero nag-iwan ng hypothesis, baka pwede natin itong gawing colored. We can make this TV as a colored TV. So they make again another one. Nakagawa sila ngayon class na colored TV. Oh, they will lead to another hypothesis. Etong TV na to masyadong makapal. This TV is very thick. So maybe we can make it thin. So they make another television again that is flat screen. Okay? Flat screen and HD. And then, oh, this TV is flat screen and this is an LED and HD TV. Maybe we can connect it into the internet. And then they make again, state the problem, another scientific method. Formulate hypothesis, data collection, perform experiments, analyze, and then they made a smart television. Okay? That's how you make scientific method. Before, we only have telephones, right? Now, we have cell phones. Okay? Cell phones and now smartphones. Okay? So, those are the things that scientific method can do. It will lead you from one invention to another invention or innovation. Okay? It's always gives us a development or improvement in the quality of life. Okay? Dati wala namang laptop. Before, we do not have laptop. Okay? But now, we have laptop because of the desktop. Give me a thumbs up if you understood, class. Okay, next. So the first thing that we need to do before we jump into the scientific method is the statement of the problem, right? So before you state your problem, okay, observation is a must. Actually, it is together with your with the first step, with the statement of the problem, because when you are going to state the problem, you need to observe. Okay, so observation, if you watch the video in our Google Classroom, this is one of the basic science skills. Okay, an observation is using one or more of your five senses to gather information. Sometimes microscopes are used to help us to see very tiny things. Thoughtful observation is clear and detailed, and it takes practice. Observations can be either quantitative or qualitative. So we have the sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of taste, sense of touch, and sense of smell. So those are the senses that we have when we see things, when we smell things, when we taste things, when we hear things, and when we feel things. Those are the things that we can observe. Okay? And we can say that if the things that we see, we hear, we feel, we smell, or we touch, we can say quantitative if it is more in numbers or involve numbers, okay, or any amount. And it is said to be qualitative if it involves descriptions that cannot be expressed with numbers. So for example, quantitative, 5 centimeters thick, okay? We have 5 centimeters there. Therefore, it is a quantitative observation. Oh, I think this ruler is 12 inches. That is a quantitative observation. Oh, I think you have a waistline of 23 inches. Okay? So as long as it involves numbers or amount, it is quantitative. Look at letter N there in quantitative. Quantitative, N means number. Qualitative observations means these are all the descriptions. You are describing an object. Okay? The bike is blue. The bottle is yellow. Okay? The pan is hot. The weather is cold. As long as you describe anything based on your five senses, or you observe the results based on what you see, based on what you feel, and so on, that is qualitative observation. Okay? Give me a thumbs up if you understood. And then, inferences. Usually, maraming naguguluhan dito. Sometimes they interchange observation in inferences. Remember, when you explain the things you observe, you are inferring. So after observing, when you explain, automatic that's inference. Okay? You are making an inference already. Inferences are based on reasoning from what you already know. You make inferences all the time. After you observe, automatic you infer. Okay? So I can make inference when you have the clues from the text and what you already know. For example, you saw that the clouds are dark and you feel that the air is cold. So your inference will be there will be storm, or there will become a thunderstorm. Okay, we will have a thunderstorm because you feel so cold and the sky or the clouds are very dark. So it means uulan, magkakaroon ng bagyo. Kaya kayo nilamig, kaya nakikita nyo ang itim ng ulap. Okay, that's inference. Alam nyo na siya, pero dahil nakakita kayo ng clue, kaya kayo nakapag-infer. You observe the clue, you saw the clue, then therefore you infer. Okay? For example, you heard a wang-wang or a siren. Siguro anong maririnig nyo na pwedeng pumasok sa utak nyo na nangyari. Okay? When you heard a siren, okay, anak, please turn off your microphone. I told you to use the chat box. Okay, so maybe it can be a policeman, or it can be an ambulance for emergency, or it can be a fire truck because there's a fire. Okay, and many more. Or it's either like the pandemic, right? You are not allowed to go outside anymore, so you heard the siren. Okay? So meaning to say, it's already curfew time. So that's inferences. You're making reasoning based on what you observe. Lesson number 2, variables in a scientific investigation. So variables are the focus of the investigation. So what are your subjects during your investigation? For example, I want to know if fertilizers can affect the plant growth because I want to have a plant in my house and I want them to grow fast, then maybe based on what I know, fertilizer can help. Okay? So the variables or the focus or the subject in my investigations are fertilizers and plants. Okay? So yun yung variables ko, class. Yung fertilizer at yung plant. Kasi yun yung pinag-uusapan ko doon sa investigation at gusto kong malaman. Okay, so what are variables? There are 3 kinds of variables that you need to identify in an experiment. This is very important. We have independent variables. This variable is you purposely manipulate or change. So pwede nyo siyang mabago. Pwede nyo siyang i-manipulate or pwede nyo interchange from time to time. Or pwede nyo siyang tawag dito, pwede nyo siyang mabago, yun nga. And then, dependent variable. This is the variable that changes in response to the independent variable. Kumbaga, si independent, ito yung cause, ito yung dahilan, okay? And yung dependent variable, ito naman yung effect. Okay? Independent variable is the cause. Dependent variable is the effect. Cause and effect. Okay? So the third one is control variable. So this is the variable that is unchanged. Okay? Pag sinabi natin unchanged, hindi nababago, meaning to say the same throughout. Para meron kang basihan. Your control variable, this is your basis for you to see the effect. Okay? So for example, I have setup A. Setup A, wala siyang fertilizer. Setup B, I put 1 fertilizer. Setup C, I put 2 fertilizers. So this setup A, because it doesn't have any fertilizer at all, this is my control variable. Setup B and setup C are my experimental things. Okay? So, this experimental part of my investigation, they have the independent variable and dependent variable because they have the plant and the fertilizer, 1 scoop and then 2 scoop of fertilizers. So, I will see if there's any change in their growth. Okay, so control variables, does red light affect plant growth? So in this case, we have red light and then yellow light. So the independent variable is the light color because we can control the light color. It's either yellow color or red color. Okay, kasi gusto nating malaman kung yung iba bang kulay ng ilaw nakakaapekto ba sa paglago ng halaman. So, ang pwede mong ma-manipulate or pwede mong mabago is yung light color. O ito, gawin kong yellow, isa gawin kong red, isa pwede mong gawin blue, isa pwedeng gawin green, whatsoever. Ang dependent variable mo, syempre, magkakaroon ng effect dyan dun sa plant height. Okay? Kung napansin mo, mas malago dito sa kulay pula, o, meron kang observation na nakita. Nakita mo sa yellow ay mas maliit. May pagbabago sa height. Okay? So, control variables, yung hindi na bago sa setup natin, yung nanatiling the same, is water, soil, temperature, and then yung day and night time. So, hindi na babago yun. Ganun at ganun pa rin yun. Okay? So, kung mapapansin nyo rito, class, dun sa yellow light, ang liit lang ng plant. Pero dito naman sa red light, mas mataas yung halaman. So meaning to say, red light can make the plant grow. Okay? Plants grow higher than the yellow light. As you can see, mas mataas yung nasa red light na plant at mas mababa yung yellow light na plant. Am I clear? So, yun yung pagbabago nila. And those are the three types or three kinds of variables in a search. Now, we are going to graph the variables. So when graphing these variables, the independent variable should go on the x-axis, the horizontal axis. Dito yon. At yung independent variable, dito mo siya ilalagay. Okay? And then, the dependent variable goes on the y-axis here, on the vertical axis. So constant variable are very important. They are also important simply because they will be the same throughout the experiment. So you can accurately measure the impact of the independent variable on the dependent variable. So maybe you can make a bar graph. So this will be your bar graph looks like. Am I clear? So maybe you can write here at the bottom is the fertilizer. Okay, fertilizer. And then you have plant A, plant B, plant C, plant D, plant E. And then the height of the plant here, the plant growth or the plant height here on the dependent variable. Am I clear? So that you can see or you can interpret that plant A is the highest plant of all than plant C. Okay, so that you can easily understand your result. That's how you graph variables. Nasa y-axis ang dependent, nasa x-axis ang independent. And then, example, letter A. You want to see which type of fertilizer helps plants grow fastest. So you add a different brand of fertilizer to each plant and see how tall they grow. So the independent variable that is type of fertilizer or the brand of fertilizer. While the dependent variable that will react to the fertilizer is the plant growth or the plant itself. You will see the different height of the plant when you put the different brand of fertilizers. So in the sample of independent and dependent variable graph, like what I've shown you a while ago, so this is it. So we have here at the y-axis, the plant height, okay? And then in the x-axis, we have here the amount of fertilizer. So this is the independent, yung nasa ilalim. And then yung nasa gilid, nasa left side, is the dependent variable. So that's how you graph your variables. And next, number 3, writing a hypothesis. So in writing a hypothesis, you need to consider the following. So hypothesis is an educated guess based on one's observation. Educated guess. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka lang basta manghuhula, hindi ka lang basta magbibigay ng kuro-kuro or ng mga ideas, but it is an educated guess. Meaning, sense with a sense. Okay? Hindi senseless. It is a tentative explanation for a behavior. Tentative meaning to say, hindi pa siya final event or phenomenon that will occur. Your hypothesis can be rejected or accepted. Formulating a hypothesis is the same as predicting. So when you are going to predict, you are making hypothesis. It's also made about future events on the basis of ordered data. So meaning to say, class, meron kang nakikitang pattern. Okay? So that you can make a hypothesis. May pattern na future events. Siguro sa susunod na araw, ganito mangyayari dito. Sa susunod na episode, kunyari, nanonood kayo ng mga soap opera o nanonood kayo ng mga Korean drama. Okay? You know what will happen next. You are making hypothesis. Okay? Next episode, this what will happen. In the next series, this is what I think will occur. ito yung mangyayari sa susunod na episode, ito yung mangyayari. You are making hypothesis that is related to the event. And then, solutions to the problem can be sought. Solutions can be found when you are starting to make or write a hypothesis. So, tigilan natin yung mga nonsense at yung mga senseless na bagay when it comes to scientific investigation. It will not help us to solve a problem. Okay? Next, formulation of research problem. So, paano ka nga ba makakuha ng research problem na maganda? How to formulate? So, research problem is an integral part of every investigation. It is a vital part, okay, of the investigation. So, it is the main gear that drives people, remember, to explore ideas, theories, and unexplained phenomena. Research arises from the needs of the community, which gives the researcher a focus and what to think about. Titingnan niya kung ano yung pangangailangan ng paligid niya. Ay, teka lang, wala kaming soap dispenser. Okay, wala kayong soap dispenser, yung kuhaan ng sabon doon sa CR or sa bathroom ninyo. So, gagawa ako ng research about on how to make improvised soap dispenser. Pwede yun. Okay? Isa sa mga nakuha or nagawa ng estudyante ko way back before, I remember he improvised a power bank. Okay, so he doesn't have any power bank. So what he did, he collect all the recycled batteries. Yung mga gawa pa ha, these are the good batteries from old cell phones. So he gets, I think, 5 batteries and he piled it up and he made a beautiful and an effective power bank out of that battery. So gamit lang yung 5 baterya, 4 or 5 baterya, pinagsama-sama niya and then hininang niya, gumawa siya ng power bank. Okay? Gamit yung recycled materials na yun. So, nakagawa siya ng research project. Kasi tinignan niya kung ano yung needs niya as a student and as an individual. O wala akong power bank, then I will make a power bank for myself. And based on what I know before and what I know now. And last, it also comes from the personal experiences. Okay, for example, they experience emergency, something like that. Okay, about 26 unanswered questions and uncertain situations. That's how you formulate research problems. And now, we can now consider these things in making research problems. So what should be considered in formulating a research problem? Number 1, there should be a clear idea about the problem and it should be within a context of area of interest. Meaning to say, maliwanag dapat yung mga information or yung ideas na ibibigay natin because it should be connected to what is happening. Kaya, number 2, it should be researchable and relevant to the present time. For example, today pandemic, what are the most important things to consider? Okay? Number 3, it is measurable and can be investigated within the period of time. It can be done for 3 days, for 1 week, 1 month, 2 months. So be sure that it can be investigated. It can be researchable also. Number 4, it should contribute something to the body of knowledge. It should add something to the mind of others. Okay? And number 5, it could lead to critical thinking, solve a problem, improve the quality of life, or lead to another important study. So this is the heart of the research project or the research investigation or scientific investigation. And number 6, it should be clear, grammatically correct, and complete as possible. Kailangan umpisa pa lang malinaw na, kapag natapos ka, malinaw din. And all the words that you are going to use are correct, and be sure to complete everything, not lacking anything. Wala kayong kulang. Okay? So, example scenario. You notice that some plants grow under the shade of some trees without direct sunlight. Having known this, you want to know if the plants need sunlight to grow. Because here in my house or in my cousin's house, there are plants inside the house. There's no direct sunlight. There are plants outside the house. There is direct sunlight, but they are both growing. So the question is, do plants need direct sunlight in able to grow? So you can state your hypothesis like this. Plants do not need to be in direct sunlight to grow. So if that is your hypothesis or educated guess, you are not sure of it, you will make an experiment. Okay? So that's it. So number 4, this is our lesson number 4, designing procedure to test the hypothesis. So we have now the hypothesis. We are going to test it. So in steps in designing a procedure to test the hypothesis is step A, clarify the variables. Clarify the variables involved in the investigation by developing a table such as the one below. So for example, we have the question, what detergent removes stains the best? So gusto nyo malaman yung sabon na makakatanggal ng mancha. Meron kang brand A, brand B, brand C. Okay? What is changed? You need to clarify the variable. Independent variable, type of detergent. For example, you have Tide, you have Champion, you have Surf, and many more. That is independent variable because you can change it. Oh, I want this, or I want this, I want this. Or I want to change this detergent to this detergent. Okay? And then the type of stain. You have oil, you have grease, okay? You have mud and many stains. Ballpen, ink, whatsoever. What stays the same? The controlled variable. So type of cloth, it should be the same. Physical process of stain removal, if you're going to wash it with your hands or if you're going to do it in a washing machine. Okay, pwede kayong magkusot. Okay, o pwede kayong gumamit ng washing machine. So, yun yung control natin. Hindi na babago yun. And then, dependent variables, the data collected. What are the results? Okay, stain fading. So, ibig sabihin, nawawala yung stain over time for combinations of detergents and stains. So, meaning to say, dun sa result, nakikita, dito sa brand A, medyo malabo na. Sa brand B, medyo nakikita pa yung stain. Brand C, totally nawala yung stain. So, based on the results and the collected data, you have the clarified variable. You have the independent, dependent, and the controlled variable. Okay? Step B, list all the materials that will be used in the investigation. Importante, walang kulang. You should complete all the materials needed. Step C, list the steps needed to carry out the investigation. Step 1, step 2, step 3, this includes in the procedures. Step D, estimate the time it will take to complete the investigation. Okay, it will take time to complete the investigation. Will the data be gathered in one sitting or over the course of several weeks? So maybe you can observe like day 1, day 2, day 3. If you cannot see the result yet, or if you do not have the results yet, then extend first week, second week, third week, and so on. Estimate the time. Next, step E, check the work. Ask someone else to read the procedure to make sure that the steps are clear. Are there any steps missing? Double or triple check as much as possible all the materials needed and all. And then, read the 5 important tips in designing procedures to test the hypothesis on page 37 in your module so that you will have another important tip. Okay? So if you want to make a scientific investigation, then much better to see and to read those tips as well. And then it will bring us to lesson number 5. Now we are done testing our hypothesis. We are going to perform it. So you are done designing to test the hypothesis. You just design or plan to test the hypothesis. Now we are going to perform the experiment and to collect the data. Some important tips in conducting experiment and collecting data. Before the experiment, make sure all the materials are complete, measured, and labeled. Why measured? Because you need to be exact and accurate. Why it needs to be labeled? Because you do not know that this substance is an acid. It's very important. This substance is a salt and not a sugar. That's very important. Okay? You need to label or lalagyan mo ng pangalan yung mga gagamitin mo. This one is sugar, this one is salt, okay, this one is an acid, so that you will be careful at all times. And most importantly, complete. You cannot perform the experiments if you have incomplete materials. So if we are in school, I will not allow you to perform the experiment if you have incomplete materials. Then, read the procedure all over again. Do not do it on your own as much as possible. If it is scientific investigation, read the procedure all over again. Always take note of the variables of the study. What are the subjects of your study? Okay? What is the focus of your study? What are the variables? Which is the independent, the dependent, and the control variables. Control variables must remain constant. Control variables, the same, the same, the same. Constant means the same. Always be reminded about the safety precautions before and during the experiment. Before and during, you should not play while doing the experiment. There's no horse playing, no wearing of jewelry. You should have wear proper laboratory gowns or laboratory gloves, laboratory mask, and so on. So you should wear the proper armor inside the laboratory room. Always be truthful in recording data. Do not cheat and report the relevant ones. So the most important thing is that you are true to your data collection. Kapag nandaya ka, mali yung lalabas na resulta. So may hirapan ka, you will go again to the first step. Then have a journal of your data to make sure that the progress of your work is monitored. Like the early scientists, they have a lot of notebooks. They had a lot of writings on what they are doing so that they will know what are the things to consider in doing this project or doing this invention. Lahat may makikita kayong sulat nila. Or sometimes they have video, they have audio recording. Okay? They have their, what do you call this? Biography. Sa biography nila, class, di ba minsan pinapalabas yung buhay ng isang scientist? It's because of all the writings that they had. Okay? Because of the videos that they have. Because of all the audio recording that they have. Then, use diagrams, illustrations, graphs, tables to manage data at ease and interpretation of the results. So this is very important for you to easily understand the results. You need to use graphs, tables, illustrations, and diagrams. Yun yung mga pictures. Okay? So katulad ng ginawa natin kanina, like the fertilizer and the plant height, that is important graph for you to understand the results of your experiment. And then, in data collection, data are the information gained from observing and testing an experiment, used to understand and make conclusions. Scientists often use graphs or tables to show their data and research findings. So we have here quantitative and qualitative data. So definition, quantitative in numbers, qualitative in describing or using description. Okay, what you will see, quantitative data are always in numbers. Qualitative are always describing words and letters. Examples, in quantitative data, you have the height, the weight, number of people living in your town, amount of money you have. While in qualitative data, you have the hair color, blood type, ethnic group, the car a person drives. So you need to be clarify or you need to clarify which data you're going to use or you're going to gather or collect. And that will lead us to the last lesson, lesson number 6, interpreting data and formulating conclusions. So this is how we interpret and formulate our conclusion. Some important tips in interpreting data and drawing conclusions. Number 1, review and organize the data to make sure everything is accurate, complete, and any inconsistencies have been resolved before beginning your analysis. So before any analyzation happens, you need to make sure that everything is complete. You need to make sure that no more failure or you already resolved the problems that you have while doing the experiment. Okay, you need to adjust everything in the experiment so that you will analyze the data or interpret the data accurately, review and organize. 2, focus so much on data that were collected in order to analyze the results accurately. So kailangan nakafocus ka. You don't need to make this thing to this other thing to this another thing. Focus on your work. Keep the analysis simple and straight to the point. So as much as possible, be direct to the point. Make analysis very simple. That's why you need to make use of tables, graphs, diagrams, and illustrations. Write your conclusion based on the findings of the experiment. That's the 4th one. So, ang magiging basehan nyo, your basis, is your experimentation stage. All the results in your experiment must be the basis of your conclusion. Number 5, since the conclusion is based on the observed facts, write it in present form. So lahat in present form. Walang past tense, walang future tense, lahat present tense. Okay? And this is how you interpret data. When an experiment is complete, the scientist studies the data to figure out what it means. So you wanted to figure out what it means. So in this example, we have sprouting of bean seeds at different temperatures. We have here the temperature in Fahrenheit, degrees Fahrenheit. So we have 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 65, 70, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we have the number of sprouted bean seeds. Ito yung mga tumubo na bean seeds. So in 55 degrees Fahrenheit, we have 2. May 2 tumubo. Sa 60, may 5 tumubo. Sa 65 degrees Fahrenheit, may 7. Sa 17, may 12. Sa 75, may 15. May 9 na tumubo naman sa 80. And then 4 sprouted bean seeds sa 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So in this table, we can say that the investigator observed and find out that there are more bean seeds sprouted at 75 degrees Fahrenheit than at 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So, in this case, sa table pa lang class, makikita mo na agad-agad yung resulta. Nakikita mo na agad-agad yung interpretation ng data. So, there are a lot of beans sprouted in 75 degrees Fahrenheit than 55 degrees Fahrenheit because it has only 2 sprouted bean seeds. So meaning to say, class, that 75 degrees Fahrenheit is the best temperature for you to grow these beans or to make these beans sprouted. Okay, so do not make use of 55 degrees Fahrenheit because they will not sprout. Do not make use of 85 degrees Fahrenheit because many of them will die. Okay, that's why only 4 of them will sprout. So that using table, make your interpretation easily. Not just table, but also graph. You can use a pie graph, bar graph, and line graph. You can also make diagrams. Next, making predictions. The analysis of the data allows scientists to observe patterns or trends. Once a pattern is found, scientists can make predictions. For example, in the seed experiment shown above, yung example natin kanina, the following pattern may be observed. So we have here the number of sprouted bean seeds. Ito. This is the dependent variable, and this is the independent variable because you can change the temperature, 50, 60, 70, 80. This time we have 90. So as you can see, the bean sprouted from 2 to 5 up to 15 here in 75 degrees. And then it dropped down when it reaches 80 degrees Fahrenheit and down to 4 number of sprouted bean seeds in 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you are going to predict, what do you think will happen to 90 degrees? Yes, very good. It will decrease. Okay? Pababa siya. So maybe we can say that there are 2 number of sprouted bean seeds in 90 degrees Fahrenheit. What if it is 100 degrees Fahrenheit? Maybe there's no more. Okay, bean seeds will sprout. Okay, they will all die because it's very hot. So you already make predictions based on your results, based on the graph that we have here, or based on the graph that depends on your example. Next, drawing conclusion. After gathering the interpreting the data, a scientist may draw a conclusion. Conclusions must be supported by evidence or evidences, such as data and observation gathered during the investigation. And then if these are all the data and the observation gathered in all of your experimentation, you need this puzzle to fix. Okay? For you to have a conclusion, you need to combine all these pieces of puzzle in one for you to see the bigger or the biggest picture of your experimentation. Conclusions may explain the causes and effects of things that happen during the investigation. So you need to fit all the puzzles, okay? So that you can figure out and you can draw a conclusion. For example, the scientist performing the bean sprouting investigation whose data is shown above may use her data to conclude. So the graph that we have there, we can use it as our clue or as our evidence. The temperature affects seed germination, and 75 degrees Fahrenheit is the best temperature for sprouting bean seeds of this type. So that is our conclusion because it is based on the result of the line graph that we have. So you have the idea now, and that will be your eureka moment. Okay? So that is our lesson 1 to lesson number 6 for Science 7 Quarter 1 Week 1. So if you have any questions, class, you can reach me to the different social media accounts. So you can reach me to my YouTube, my Instagram, or my Facebook, especially to our group chat in Messenger, also in our Google Classroom. So if you have any questions, class, you can chat it. And that's all for our lesson 1 to lesson number 6, this first quarter, week 1. Thank you so much, and God bless.